no, for sure.
We're gonna take you with our next pick right here, man.
Yeah, yes, sir. Let's be legendary.
And there was a part where he says, you just got to wait a little longer. And then Shedeur's like, what do you mean by wait a little longer? And somebody was like, well, he was talking to you. Why are you asking us? So I think he felt like something was a little funny, like just like wondering why they said that.
Perfect.
Shedeur Sanders, we gotta talk about what happened with my man in the draft, man. Was projected to go first, possible second. Ended up slipping to the 5th round. Was the 144th pick by the Cleveland Browns, which is better than Tom Brady. I think it was 199. But Shedeur Sanders physically looks a lot different than Tom Brady also looked at the end of his draft. It also shows you those numbers don't mean nothing. It's all about where you take it from there. You just need to get in through the door. Now, why did he slip? Was it people saw the Bronny James nepotism and was like, all right, we'll get him, but maybe we'll just get him at the end? Maybe people didn't like the way that he carried himself. I heard Deion Sanders make a quote talking about he'll pull a Archie Manning if Travis Hunter and Shedeur don't end up, because he's like, I know certain cities I don't want them to end up in. Maybe they was a little too open in that.
You predict Shedeur and Travis going in the draft?
Top 4.
Ooh, that's pretty beautiful.
Anywhere from 1 through 4. One of them is going to be 1.
That's what I'm talking about.
One of them is going to be
speak it
1.
into existence.
And the latter one would not go behind 4. Now, all this is subjective because I know where I want them to go.
Mm-hmm.
And let's not forget Shallow, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But I know where I want them to go. So there's certain cities that ain't gonna happen.
Okay, you on point.
It's gonna be it's gonna be an Eli.
I've also heard Shedeur didn't go to the combine. There were games that he opted to not play in as opposed to like games that were probably a little more local to where he lived. I've heard rumors of Shedeur being at parties. And not that I've heard it was a party, but I heard one person say on a podcast that, and they were adamant to say that he was not drunk. He didn't look like he was getting faded, but he was at a party where everybody was. And the fact that he's saying that makes me think it was like open air, no phones, people like, yo, just do what you're gonna do on the table type shit. And he's like, you shouldn't be here. If he looked at him and was like, you shouldn't be here, you know what I mean, then the NFL knows you probably places where you probably shouldn't be at. Mm-hmm. And like, because they got private investigators working from that former,
doing what kids do.
So all that being said, I don't really know. I don't watch enough college football to know. I don't even know if he was that nice. I just know he has a famous dad, and I like Colorado. I seen his numbers; they didn't seem that bad for it to be that level of way he slipped. But you combine all these things, a little bit of overconfidence, which I don't think is a problem, but I don't necessarily know if the white men who are deciding if they're going to sign you or not find that to be a problem. Who your dad is? Some people don't like your dad being like, I'm just gonna, I'm a big dick to situation. Or I've heard statements like Deion has been in the media for several years. Was he getting certain people to be like, yo, Shedeur's draft status is a B instead of a C? Or, you know what I mean? Or was he pulling? I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Who knows? Is that, or is someone gonna put their job on the line because Deion asked for a favor? I don't know how that works. You know what I mean? But what I will say is throughout the whole thing, even with being pranked, Shedeur Sanders handled himself with a lot of gravitas.
I agree.
Yeah. At no point did I see him, and I know at that age, he was streaming one. At that age, I done had like a whole status. You would have knew how I felt. I'd have been showing out. I'd have been talking about collusion. I'd have been talking all types of conspiracy theories. So the fact that he handled himself like that shows something that, like, I respect. I never got the overconfident thing from Shedeur. Like, I haven't watched a ton of interviews, but like him and Travis kind of both seem super humble.
I think it's a matter of perception. Like, you know, what do you perceive as overconfident? He's flashy, you know.
He was jewelry, yeah.
I mean, that's not, you know.
But I never like heard him talk and thought that this kid.
He's not a massive shit talker. Yeah. Like, he's not one of those dudes.
In fact, well, Shiloh is more like Deion, yeah. But Shedeur almost to the point where I was like, he's kind of like the, and I don't think he's nothing against his tones, but he's kind of like a remedial prime time in the fact that like he seems like he's thinking about what he's gonna say before he says it. Like Deion, what we like about Deion is he's spitting. He's like, gold for the money, green for the honey. Like, he didn't make that up. But he'd be like, you know what I mean? What he say? Look good, feel good, play good. Like, he'll just come up with these, like, statements all the time. Or even in the press now as a coach, he'll have a good rebuttal on the spot where you're like, did you rehearse that at home? Did you come, what kind of Muhammad Ali shit is this? Where Shedeur don't got that. You could tell he's a little more measured and thinking about what he wants to say. So I didn't get none of those vibes from him. I also, not every team needs a quarterback. I seen how the Giants treated Jaden Daniels the year before. And Jaden Daniels, you seen him balling out for Washington, so he knows how to play. But they was like kind of like pop quizzing him on the spot. Like, all right, if we do this package, which guy is going to be the wingman? Which guy is going to be the end, the flanker? Which guy is going to be the da-da-da? And if it's fast, and I've heard Shedeur got caught up in the Giants interview, and they were like, did you really prepare for this? Did you study for this? And there was kind of like a tension that was between them at that point. He also might not have wanted to go to New York.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like the Giants are killing shit right now. So it is what it is. What do you think about the whole thing, though, watching the as it going on? And
I mean, I was, again, I don't follow college football like that, but I was surprised at, you know, how far he dropped. Because, you know, I did watch a few games, and he's talented, right? He's not a scrub at all. So based on his numbers and what he was able to do throughout the season, it did not make sense to me where he dropped, you know, to the 5th round. The only thing that does make sense is everything you just named, you know, combined, you know, who his father is. Does a team want all of this attention? Because at the end of the day, because of who he is, wherever he goes, there will be attention that follows him, period. Right? And it's not going to always be about his skill set. You know, people are going to want to see, you know, what he does, what he says, how he reacts, all of these things. And, you know, teams at the end of the day, unless you're some generational talent, they don't want to deal with the circus that comes along with that at the end of the day.
Or your dad making a press conference based off of my press conference, like, his press conference is bigger than mine.
Right, exactly. Like, those teams don't, at the end of the day, don't want that. Unless, again, if you're a generational talent, they'll deal with it. But if you're not, which he's not a generational talent. They're not gonna. They ain't with it. So I get it. But I was surprised. And then it seemed like once Donald Trump came out and made that statement, I'm like, which I was surprised about that he came out. But
now let's check out the prank, which it sucked that it happened, but it was kind of funny.
The prank was effed up. From a college standpoint, it was funny. Outside of college, that was effed up.
Like, it's effed up regardless, because that's what these kids are waiting for, this moment. You know what I'm saying?
Mickey Loomis here, GM of the Saints.
How you doing?
Good, how are you, man?
Good, been waiting on you.
Yeah, we have. It's been a long wait, man.
No, for sure.
We're going to take you with our next pick right here, man.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Let's be legendary.
Shit, the video cut off. But there was a part where he says, you're just gonna have to wait a little longer. And then Shedeur's like, what do you mean by wait a little longer? And somebody's like, well, he was talking to you. Why are you asking us? So I think he felt like something was a little funny, like just like wondering why they said that. But he was like, all right, let's see what happens. Obviously, that was live streaming, and then people saw that the Saints didn't pick him. This was the kids actually posted themselves doing it.
This is Mickey Loomis here, GM of the Saints.
How you doing?
Good, how are you, man?
Good, been waiting on you.
Yeah, we have. It's been a long wait, man. We're going to take you with our next pick right here, man.
Let's be legendary.
Hey, but you're going to have to wait a little bit longer, man. Sorry about that.
Now, you know why this is so dumb? Because one, the number can only be traced back to the son of the defensive coordinator, because it's a draft phone. They only buy that phone for the draft. 2, they recorded themselves doing it. And then 3, they posted themselves. Like, those aren't your friends, homeboy. Like, the fact that they did that. But you saw the fallout. The Atlanta Falcons defensive coordinator, Jeff Albridge, they found out that his son had gotten Shedeur's number out of an iPad that was unlocked. Came back to bite him in the ass. The Falcons were fined $250,000, and Jeff Albridge was fined $100,000 due to his son's action. I believe his son's name is Jax. They both apologized to Shedeur Sanders. I think Jax even called him, and it was they on stream and apologized. But yeah, wild. And they pranked someone else. There was another kid that got pranked also.
Oh, that same day?
Yeah, they was, but not as famous, and not obviously it wasn't as big of a thing. But yeah, wild boys learn. Young boys learn from that. Y'all from everything we talking about this episode. But
They
learn.
probably won't. I mean,
It's just what young boys do with phones.
You don't think.
Because they could have got away with it. Like, they literally set them, they recorded themselves, posted it, and then it was like, it can only be traced back to one person. My man's wearing the school logo. What do you think for the process? A lot of, I don't care for processes. I don't care for interview processes. I don't care for it. But as I got older, I realized why they exist. A lot of people have jobs because of processes. So a good example of not doing the process would be like Beyonce. She didn't want to do the country music process of, I got to go to every country music radio station. I got to do the circuit to now be considered in their award ceremony. The music should speak for itself. Beyonce can do that. Beyonce has built up a certain level of, outside of that genre, she's already famous. She has a ton of money to back her up. If this fails, not the big of the end of the world. And she has 20 plus years of a career. Mm-hmm. As a Shedeur, there's something to be said of going through the process. I get not wanting to do it and not even feeling like you should have to do it, but I can see why it turns people off that you wouldn't do it, because it's like, bro, this kid's nicer than you. He did it. Right. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, so I think we as young people and black people, I should say, because sometimes I think our confidence gets in the way of it. There's nothing wrong with being confident. Nothing wrong with even being a little showboaty if you could back it up. But there's got to be a respect for the process, because once you start disrespecting processes, I see why that rubs people the wrong way, and they're going to make sure you're punished for it. There could be a consensus around them, like, yo, you won't really show up. All right, you ain't going before third. Right. You know what I'm saying? And like, I don't know if that's what happened, but I can see why people can feel that way. Yeah. So it's like, and like I said,
and again, you're not the generational talent to just say 100%, through the process.
Exactly. So, whereas I think sometimes we do think we are. You know what I'm saying? Like, I trust me, I hate getting dressed up and going on a job interview. I'm like, I gotta impress you, this guy, you, this person, just, you know what I mean? And it feels fake. It feels, but especially in Shedeur Sanders' field of work. How many times are you going to be interviewed? How many tough press conferences do you have to have after a loss? You're a quarterback. You got to eat a loss. As if you know it wasn't your fault. So it's like, I can see why they want you to go to that process. One, just to see how you handle it. And two, how they could be rubbed the wrong way when you don't do it. So that just goes to show, and I hope Shedeur uses all his fuel and turns everything around. Like I said, I have extreme respect for the amount of gravitas, and I feel like Deion has raised him well for the way he handled this, because I'd have been acting a donkey. I'd have went 8th round. So, you know what I'm saying? And then also shout out to Shiloh. He wasn't drafted, but he was signed by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as an undrafted signing. So, okay, got both brothers in the league now. Let's see what they do with it. What's good, y'all? It's your man DJ Playboy, and I'm here with my guy Spec, and we representing for the Perfect Talk podcast.
Make sure y'all like and subscribe, people.
And of course, hop in the comments, let us know what you thinking. And go check out the website, www.perfecttalkpodcast.com. All the episodes right there.
Yes, sir. Peace.